Yo! Plan C podcast coming at you on a Thursday. No, Thursday. Sorry. Tuesday. Haha. Joke's on me. Hope y'all are doing well. Doing a little cold open. I've got a new intro. I changed the intro a little bit, and so I didn't want to just rush into it. So I decided, do this first. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, hope y'all are having a lovely, lovely winter. It is almost over. Thank God. It is officially March when this comes out. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Make sure you check out our socials, Instagram, Twitter. We're there. Make sure you check out our streams every single Friday, whether we're playing League, Elden Ring, you should get it, whatever it is. We're there, we're playing, having a great time. Got a great episode coming up for y'all. We interviewed Leon Morgan. He's an actor who has been on many shows. He's been on HBO. He's been on Funny or Die. He's been a bunch of places. He's done a lot of theater as well. So, shout out to a thespian. Anyway, I'm rambling, wasting time. Don't matter. We're going to get into it. Hope y'all are enjoying your day, evening, night, morning, whatever it is. Appreciate you for listening. Make sure you're following. Again, that's at plan_C_podcast. Twitter and Instagram. Hit us up there. Appreciate y'all. And Pierce, for the first time ever, you may take it away.
No problem. I still got plan C. Ladies and gentlemen.
And we are back. Plan C podcast coming at you with a lovely interview today. We are interviewing Leon Morgan, actor extraordinaire. Leon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. What is it? I am blessed, black, and highly favored. That's where I'm at. Oh, boy.
Sounds like a beautiful Tinder profile.
Oh, man.
As always, joined by lovely co-host as well, Cameron. Cameron, how are you doing today?
What's up? What's up? I'm alive. I am well. Also black. Also chilling. You already know.
Amazing. So, we like to interview creatives in Brooklyn who hail from Brooklyn, who live in Brooklyn. And I know you're living in Queens now, so it's okay. We're still gonna cut you in.
Yeah, we'll forgive you. We'll forgive you.
Yeah, we'll forgive you. So just want to get into a little bit of what got you into acting. Sort of what you're doing now. So what would you say was the biggest thing for you that pushed you into acting?
All right. So many moons ago when I worked in retail, I worked at the Apple store. And I used to run a record label while working in the Apple store. I wanted to be the next Jay-Z. And my coworker, my manager, I should say, he was, we would make, all right, take two. We were working in the basement. We would make these little videos for, the staff. This is how you, process returns and stuff like that, since we handled all the shipping and receiving. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Apple store in Soho. On the second floor, they have that, little movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And when we'd have our store meetings, that's where we would, not preview, but show our little department videos that we made. And I would always have fun. And my manager, Mario, he is an actor. And he was like, Leon, you should really do this. You seem to have, be natural on the camera, and you always have fun. I was like, nah, I want to be Jay-Z. I don't want to be Denzel. So then I saw I Am Legend, and Will Smith was it was pretty much a one-man show. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I still wasn't sold. And then I read that for the Joker, Heath Ledger locked himself in a hotel room for about a month and change. And I was like, that sounds fun. I want to try that. That was 2009, and I haven't looked back since.
Nice. I like that, one of the all-time performances is the thing that you're like, yeah, like I'm going to do that. I like that character acting.
Yeah. So it was definitely fun. And also too, we live in a world where I don't know why, but people tend to believe what they see on TV is real. Like it's like, when people think that Stone Cold and The Undertaker actually hate each other, and it's like, no, you don't. They don't really hate each other. So, sadly, people who look like me often are portrayed in a negative light. Slowly changing, but still a bit there. And I was like, if I can get on TV and play characters opposite of that, maybe I can somehow not change the world by myself, but contribute to that change. So yeah, that's another thing that got me into it too.
Yeah, that's what's up. I also kind of oddly, like maybe 20 minutes ago, I was just watching like a YouTube video on Heath Ledger and that performance. And one of the interesting things I heard was like everyone was talking about how it was like such like a depressing role and everything, but he's like he loved the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that like when you said that reminded me, I'm like that's probably what an actor would say when they saw that. They'd be like, oh, that sounds awesome, not like, oh, that sounds terrifying, like.
Yeah. And it's funny, pardon me if I cut you off, one of my acting teacher, Joel Rooks, he's once said to us in class, having cancer, not fun, not a good thing. But if I get to play someone who has cancer, that's like the most fun thing ever. And to the untrained ear, right? That's like, are you kidding me? Cancer's not fun at all. But like, they don't see the fact that as an actor, when they hand you a meaty role like that, a challenging role, it's just like, oh my God, I can't wait to do the research. I can't wait to like meet people, because as an actor, you're a magnet for personality. You want to meet people. Like that's one thing I like. Like, yeah, there are a bunch of terrible people in this world, but you still want to meet them. Why? What makes you tick? Why are you so terrible? Why are you so great? You know what I mean? Like, so that's something that we enjoy, that part of the craft. I can't even speak today. Craft to to take on those different journeys and tell those stories.
Nah, that sounds like it's really interesting that you're going the route of like empathy in terms of how you're acting.
Mm-hmm.
That's such an interesting take on it and an interesting study on it, because I feel like if you're not empathizing with the person you're playing, then you don't truly have an understanding, and I feel like then the emotion won't flow that way. I mean,
No. What you're saying, Colin, is absolutely correct, because a teacher of mine, David Newer, right? He's my monologue coach. Awesome. What's up, David? If you happen to hear this, I remember I was saying, oh yeah, so my character, he says, no, you, because once you say your character, you are actually like judging the person. No matter what you play, you're like you said, the empathy. You have to empathize with whoever it is you're playing, even if it's friggin' what's his name again? Shoot, what was Jack Nicholson's character in The Shining? Shoot, I forgot his name. And I just watched this thing like 2 weeks ago. Even if you're playing him and he's terrorizing his wife and his child, like you got to find out, like you got to empathize with him.
Jack Torrance.
There you go. You have to empathize with Jack Torrance. Like, no matter who I play, like you have to find something, because people don't just do things for the sake of. Like there's something in there. Like, I tell you the truth, I prefer to play a villain. If I were to book a comic book movie, I would prefer to play the villain. One, because everybody remembers the villain, and I mean,
that's facts.
Very true.
Like you just said, like the Joker's performance. I mean, Christian Bale, I think it was the best Batman, but no one's like, oh my God, that voice, that Batman. But they always talk about Heath Ledger's Joker, or Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul, or Tom Hardy's Bane or so. But the villain, like, if my, I'm here to just destroy all the houses in America. Like, why does he want to do that? What, like, how do you? There's no such thing as an infinity gauntlet or an infinity gemstone, but you as the actor have to personalize the want to get all those gemstones and wield that infinity gauntlet. You know what I mean?
No, I got you.
No, absolutely. Because when I write comic books or when I'm doing like storyboards for comic books and stuff like that, generally I find the villains are just far more intriguing because like there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to do a good thing. There's a lot of reasons why you'd want to stop somebody from blowing up a train or something like that. But there's not a lot of reasons why you'd want to blow up a train. And so I find that the villains just have to be a bit more complex, but the great villains, you still empathize with them even as a viewer, which kind of leads me to ask you this question. Like when you're trying to learn a character, I find like characters and people are so complex. Are there specific things that you try to uncover about those characters in order to like really act them?
Well, first things first, what you try to do is you try to bring a little bit of yourself to the role because, that's why you like Denzel or Meryl Streep or Julianne Moore or Viola Davis, because they're bringing their personality to the role. And what I try to do is a friend of mine told me, Michael Shannon said, like, he tries to find 3 things he has in common with that character. This is what someone told me. So, Michael Shannon, if you're listening to this and you didn't say that, I'm just going off what someone said. And that's something you try to find within that character. Like, how can I relate to this person? Like playing Aaron Namor. I did right before COVID hit. I played Aaron Namor in Titus Andronicus. What do I have in common with Aaron? Leon Morgan, I struggle with being a Black man fitting in society at one point, trying to, despite the fact that you are looked down upon, you have these ambitions to like take over and overthrow white supremacy. Like, those are things I found in Aaron that I would find in myself. And that's what allowed me to connect to him. There's certain characters where I may work from the outside in, from the clothes, and that will inform my behavior. But for the most part, I usually try to go from the inside out.
Gotcha. That's fascinating.
Yeah, when I played Rocky in The Iceman Cometh, I at first I was messing with him like, let's see how the clothes make me feel, because it's so easy to just play like a no nonsense bartender. But how does the clothes make you feel? That error, and then listening, you do the basic things. What's said about you? What do you say about yourself? Usually when you get a script, it's you read it with no interruptions. What's said about you? What you say about yourself? What are the facts? No backstory, no opinions. Oh, I think my father may have left me. No, if it's not said in the play, then that's not a fact. And then like you can start building and going from there and doing your backstory. But that first sit down is all facts.
I like that you're building your own interpretation within the own world, within the rules. Oh, excuse me. That's really interesting, because then I feel like it's really similar to playing Dungeons and Dragons in a way, where you're just like, where the sort of character and the lines and everything, that's your dungeon master, and everything else is just you. I love that, actually. That's interesting.
There's no wrong answer. There's no such thing as that's the beautiful thing about character building. I mean, that's also the most, I don't want to say difficult, but the most challenging thing about character building, because it's like there's like, I work in IT. That's my survival job. If I can't get your computer to connect to the server drives, then okay, there's something there. I can look this up. Maybe it's something on the network. Maybe it's something on the server. But when it's like, hey, Leon, you need to find what am I looking for? The vulnerabilities in this character. There's no book for that. So it's fun because you get to find those things. But it becomes challenging and scary because there's a part of you that's just like, well, is this deep enough? You know? So
No, that makes sense. That's really interesting. Also, I read up, and I know you've done acting in like Broadway type of performances as well as like commercials and TV, and I feel like they're
Norwegian
all like
commercials.
Norwegian commercials. Yes, and from my layman's perspective, they all seem to have like a very different ask of the actor. Like as you've done all these different types of roles, have they kind of like changed how you approach some of your acting roles now?
Well, as you go into it, you develop based on your experience. I remember having a conversation with someone about that. I was like, like, oh man, like how can I ever get to that level of a DiCaprio or Denzel? And it's just like, it's experience working with certain directors. Certain directors teach you certain things. And you're like, oh my God, that's true. Maybe I should implement that. But one thing that's really cool is that you find characters from your previous work, their blueprint in other characters in your future work. You know what I mean? Like I could, if I played, for example, right? Like say I played Aaron Namor in Titus Andronicus. If I were to ever like get cast to play the Joker, I would definitely borrow from my character work from Aaron.
Gotcha.
If we were to stay in the Christopher Nolan universe as what's his name, Alfred? Michael Caine said, this isn't verbatim, but he said, there's some people who don't have a goal. Some people just want to watch the world burn. I could take that as what was like, if I were cast as a Joker and I read the script and I saw that, I would definitely like highlight that because that could inform my choices. And a choice like that, a line like that, could also inform my choices of who Aaron Namor is in Titus Andronicus. Another actor might say, no, that's not true, but that's the beautiful thing. That's my interpretation of it.
Yeah, and like playing an antagonist, it must be very interesting because, as you said, that's sort of the drive you want, because everyone remembers the antagonist. So I grew up in theater. So I knew. So I definitely was schooled in Shakespeare. And I don't know. I think when you see material like that has been done in so many different ways, but it's still sort of fresh because there's still a million interpretations that we haven't seen yet. I think that's one of the most interesting thing about the medium,
It definitely is, because if you really think about it, why can't I speak today? I'm like a lost for words, but it's like, if you take a look at the variety of storytelling that the human race, the human brain has put out in the world, there's not much else you can really tell. Guy gets girl, girl gets guy, save the girl, save the guy, the tragedy, the comedy. It's funny that you said that because now I just refreshed my memory. Save the Cat is this book that I read because I'm looking to write my own screenplay. And he said in Hollywood, it's like, give me the same thing, but different, And if you really take a look at what we do, it's the same thing, but different. It's someone else's interpretation on it. And it's not to bring it down. I mean, it's only so much you can tell in the world you live in. You feel me?
Right. Right.
We've seen it for the most part. We've seen it all as human beings. Now it's just, here's my spin on it. Here's my spin on a coming-of-age movie. Here's my spin on a drama, an action, or a dramedy. We started making things up like dramedy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, the same thing, but different.
No, for sure. Like, I find, like, especially in comics and stuff like that, it's the hero's journey spun like 1,000 times over. And somehow when we see the next Batman 3,585, like we're still just like, oh, like that's still pretty interesting. And that's also kind of the interesting part about being a creative is that part of your job is to like kind of stand out amongst all these people that are trying to give their interpretation of a character that you're also trying to embody. And I was
Yeah.
kind of wondering, like, as a creative, how do you try to stand out amongst like others in your discipline?
In all honesty, well, one thing that I feel, now I feel like I'm being cocky here, but I promise you I'm not. I feel that what makes me stand out from some of my peers is a hunger in the business. You know, as I said, I used to run a record label. So I used to actually manage artists. So I know the importance of a deadline. I know the importance of getting things in and always and like, you know, going to those meetings and talking and such. So that was one thing that made me stand out from a personal side on a, you know, from a what's the word I'm looking for? From a Leon side, a human side, but from the artistic side, I have something that no one else has, not even my favorite actor. You know what that is? Me, my experiences, my take on things. You know, I won't lie to you. I sometimes talk to myself out loud as if I'm talking to my unborn child. Kelly's not expecting, so no, she's not. I'm not going to be a father soon.
This isn't breaking news.
No, this isn't breaking news. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. But I often, and one thing that if I could ever say, you know, like, hey, Leon Morgan's this accomplished actor, and he's talking to the youth. I would love to just tell a young actor, you are better than your favorite actor. Why? Because you have something they don't have, which is you, your experiences, your take on things. And they're a better actor than you, not because they have Oscars, Tonys, and Emmys. It's because they have their experiences on things. And that's what makes us unique. And that's what I have ahead of my other peers. And that's what they have ahead of me as well.
Yeah. I think I was thinking about this. Weird segue, but I was thinking about this today as it relates to like to pain in people and how like, you know, suggesting that your pain is worse than another just because like a certain amount of things happen to you, like like you just can't do that because everything is relative, you know. And I don't know, it just sounds like it just feels like very similar to what you're saying there, how like, you know, everyone who is in the medium, they're all bringing their X factor to the table.
Yeah. Like, you know, that's one thing. I'll say this. Another reason why I prefer to play the villain is because I've been a nice guy my entire life. And one thing you learn is that, you know, kindness and generosity in this world is often taken advantage of or mistaken for weakness and exploited. Not saying everybody does that to you, but whenever I get to play a villain, I get to torment people, you know, looking at the fear in the eyes of my coworker, my castmate. Like, that's what I love. Like, I know that sounds crazy. Like, I'm looking in his eyes and he's just scared. But there's something in that power to make someone, you know, like, it's just like you work off of it. When you have a great scene partner who's genuinely terrified of you as you torment them, oh my God, it just makes your soul rush. And oh my, y'all might want to have me committed, but that's one of the reasons why I love playing the villain too, is because it's just a break from you, you know? I forgot who did. I was watching something. What's his name? Willem Dafoe, when he played Nosferatu. I was watching his Vanity Fair thing when he broke down all the movies in his career, and he played the Nosferatu like character. And he said, putting on the makeup allowed me to just like let go, like just be something else. Like, you know, it's almost like you have this mask on, no one knows it's you, so you're just free to move. And that's why I feel like when I'm a villain, like, yeah, I have a dark side to me, but I'm genuinely a nice dude. But like, if you say, Leon, you get to terrorize these 4 people in this movie or this play for the next 2 hours, oh my God, I get lost in it.
No, because it's like an out of body experience,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's like a safe place to terrify people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like the fact that you are terrifying them means you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know. That would make me feel even better.
Yeah. I remember when I did Titus. I'm gonna keep bringing up Titus because that was such a great experience. Like, it's a part where Aaron turns on Tamara's two sons, and like the actors were so terrified that they looked so foolish how terrified they were that it made me laugh while I was doing it, and I didn't plan that.
Yeah.
I just let go, and I just started laughing at their fear as because I was in control. And it was like, is this what you would do as a black man if you had the upper hand in this world? Like, and it was like, we were joking on during rehearsal, like Shakespeare was woke before there was woke. But it was like, he's been woke before his woke, man. But it was like, just, holy shit, like, is this how I would be in this situation? That's like the beautiful thing. Like, you unlock so much of yourself. Sorry, I could talk about this all day. And I know that's the point of this podcast.
No, it's all
we
good,
love
man.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So,
I think
Cameron, go for it.
yeah, I think that's like one of my favorite thing about in creative media is definitely just stories. And I find that the beautiful part about stories is that each story is like their own little world where whether you're writing in it or you're acting in it or you're drawing it, it's like you can almost like entirely explore options and like feelings that you would never even think to do in real life. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna think like, what if I slapped that guy's sandwich out of his hand? You're not gonna you're not going around walking around Brooklyn like being like a slapping people's Subway sandwiches. But like if it's in the role, then you might actually be like, okay, like, well, how does it feel? Does it make me feel powerful when the mayo hits his sneakers? Like, I don't know. Like,
You're right, because it's just like, holy shoot, like, like, I guess, like, one day we look so scared. I was like, oh my god, I have so much power right now that the only thing I could do is just laugh at it and go. So I'll like, Aaron Namor is like my favorite character that I played, and it was, oh my gosh, like, and I can take this character and all his DNA or some of his DNA. I can apply this to like many different characters I'll play in the future who are villains or even heroes.
Yeah, if there's like a dark side to that hero,
Mm-hmm.
and you like have a scene where you like scare one of your, your, I don't know, like superhero teammates, if you will.
What's his name from The Boys? What's the
Homelander?
There you go.
Homelander, yeah. Oh
Oh
man.
my goodness.
One of
But
the nicest dudes
Homelander's
you'll
down
ever
bad.
meet. The actor is like a very nice guy.
I follow him on Twitter. He's the best.
Mm-hmm. I saw him I look at his page on Instagram. I'm like, this is the most boring regular guy ever. No offense if you're listening to this, but like, to see him like go from that to that, that's just great work.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, also we're talking about like, like you can, when you're in these characters, you can kind of like experience so much and kind of learn so much. Are there anything like when you've acted as a character, have you taken something with you and like kind of applied it in your day-to-day life?
What character have I taken from? Who? Is there any character that's made me feel that way? I mean, like, not necessarily any character I've played, but maybe in certain things well, then again, that would make me the audience, so that doesn't really count. But, of course, like, you find a message in anything. But actually, yeah, freaking, we should just call this the Aaron Moore interview. But what I've taken from Aaron is what you could apply from Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, which is let them think they have the best of you because they'll pretty much turn their back on you, and that allows you to just build up your attack and strike. Actually, Sun Tzu said it too. Let your plans be as dark and as impenetrable as the night, and when you strike, fall like a thunderbolt, or when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. But that is something I pull from Aaron as well too. Like, let people underestimate you because they don't give you the time of day, and they won't interrupt you, so you can continue your thing. And that's what happens to me as an actor. A lot of people underestimate me. I'm an underdog, and recently I've learned to appreciate my underdog because it allows me time to just develop and be me. I have a lot of friends who are working actors, and I know a lot of them would love to do, oh, I would love to do this, or I love to try that, but my schedule is so busy because I'm in demand that I don't really get to do it. So sometimes there's a upside to being like an actor in an incubator still, versus the one who's out and about flapping his or her wings.
That's great. I think that's like that's really important. I think especially as like a creator of anything. I think it's a lot like, because I feel like a lot of the time a lot of people get drunk on their own juice when they're a creator, you know what I mean? And just to some extent it's almost a bit necessary to be kind of like, kind of hopelessly optimistic when you're in a creative space, because like it's already something kind of unlikely, but you have to be that guy. And so people try to embody that guy all the time, but then they might not necessarily. Sometimes I find like people forget exactly why they were doing it to begin with, because they were trying to be someone that they thought they needed to be in order to be successful or feel confident, type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we often, Marcy Phillips, she's an amazing casting director. Love her to death, drops a lot of gems. She has this book, I believe it's called The Present Actor. I'm trying to see. I think it's The Present Actor. And she talks about how this woman is like legendary in the casting world. Like, whatever A-list celebrity you see on TV or in film or theater, he or she may have most likely have crossed paths with her. And she said in her book, like, she's met actors, and not in general. Like, she's talking about like some of these A-listers. Before they became A-listers, they were like, man, if I could just make it in this industry, I'll be so happy. And then the person who we see on TV or film or on the stage, the Broadway stage, she runs into them or that person in the future, and like she's like, oh, so you got everything. Remember we talked about this? How do you feel? And the person's like, kind of like, yeah, I still kind of feel the same inside. You know what I mean? Like, and it's one of those things. Like, I'll tell you this right now, I'm dying to be like considered an A-list actor. But I know that there's things inside of me that I have to get right in order for me to actually enjoy it. Like Lauryn Hill said, how you gonna win if you ain't right within? Because some of the most successful people in the world are the most miserable. And some of the most disenfranchised or unfortunate people in the world will be the most happiest.
No, that's a fact. Because like I feel like you like kind of like to get drunk on your own juice type of analogy. It's like a lot of people don't necessarily know, like they think it's kombucha, but it's actually lean. You know what I mean? Like you gotta really know yourself to know what you're getting yourself into. Like,
oh my God.
No, you're absolutely right. I remember, as this is going to sound like a corny thing. I'm a very what's it called, introverted person, right? So sometimes, when I lived with my mom and my cousins would come over, I would always be like tucked away in my room by myself, and I had all the video games in there. And these are like, they're like younger, maybe like 10, 11 at the time, and so it's almost like, oh, well, Leon let us in his room to play video games, but he's not because he's introverted. So they'd be in the basement, like playing like these like little makeshift games that they would make up, like who could jump from the bottom of the stairs to the top in, one jump. And they're just having a ball. You know what I mean? Like, they're having a ball, they're loving it, they're laughing. And, that's more laughter, more enjoyment than they're experiencing than they would have playing video games in my room. You know what I mean? So in that little scenario, I was the more fortunate one because I had all the games in my room, and they were the less fortunate one because they had to do with what they had. But they were laughing and having fun while I was being introverted and disturbed. So I just turned you guys into my therapist.
No, hey,
No,
that's
we
what
are,
podcasts are for.
and we are all very avid video game players. Like,
Yeah, no, seriously.
yeah, I played through Dark Souls 1. I'm not sure if that's an accomplishment or just like an indictment of my character. Like, like
Yeah.
it could be either.
Yeah, like we have collectively put so many hours into just video games and specifically Japanese video games. Shout out Ghost of
They're the
Tsushima,
best. Come on now.
great video game.
Oh no, I used
Um,
to back in the day. I used to be heavy on the import games. Before that's when Japan would get everything first. Now it's the other way around. But I had like a Dreamcast before it came out in America.
Oh, wow.
I had the infamous PlayStation 1 Japanese chip so you could play the imported games and whatnot. I used to be, because I worked in a mom and pop video game store, so they never had to follow the rules. So like you had the Japanese Nintendo 64 games and PlayStation games and whatnot. It was dope. Now the gaming world is just different now because it's just like everything comes out here first. And this was a time where like you would get I remember I think I paid $150 to get Metal Gear Solid, the Japanese version that came in a special edition box that came with the game, the soundtrack, the dog tags, and the T-shirt. That stuff was like
Damn.
what separated the Japanese games from the pack. And now that's what we do here. We're like, so, oh man.
No, I definitely miss the kind of individuality that you used to have when you picked out a game that was like from a different place. You like, because you never really knew what you were gonna get, but you knew you were gonna get something special. You know, like I was really into like Gundam, like when I was younger, and I used to like import the Japanese Gundam games, and you got to figure out the menu because we don't read Japanese. Like I've watched a lot of anime, and I can't tell you what any of those menus say. And but it was like
my God.
It was part of the experience. I'm like, like I'm not like some little kid in my basement like watashi wa, like that wasn't me. But I did enjoy just that aspect of gaming, especially Japanese games. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, my thing now as I look back at them is like you play the Japanese version and the black guy had like a very huge lips, but then when they bring it over to America, they tone that shit down.
Yeah.
Like DJ, like friggin' DJ in Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the cover, he had the biggest lips.
Oh my gosh.
And then when they brought him over here, his lips are like non-existent.
And also DJ having maracas. I thought he was supposed to be Jamaican.
Give him a steel drum or something.
Yeah, like you gave him the big lips. You should have at least like finished the job. Like
exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Japan did not get the assignments in that one.
They did not. They did not. But also DJ's a fantastic character. He's super cool. So
yeah,
they got something right.
Speaking of which, I just remember looking at the old Street Fighter movie, and I was just like, "Oh my god, Balrog's a cameraman? Like what? How is that? Like what is that?"
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh boy,
I do like that Balrog is like Mike Tyson, though. I find that interesting, especially
what the story is, right?
The story of Balrog.
So so when they had Street Fighter, so. Fighting Street or Street Fighter 1, whatever you want to call it, his name was Mike, right? And he resembled Mike Tyson. Then when they released the second Street Fighter in Japan, Bison was Vega, Balrog was Bison, and Vega was Balrog. But then when they brought it over to the US, they changed the names because they figured Black Boxer kind of resembles Mike Tyson. If we call him M. Bison, because his name was Mike Bison,
I'm weak.
Mike Tyson could sue us. So that's why like Bison is called Vega in Japan. Vega is called Balrog, and Balrog is Mike Bison. That's what the M stood for.
That's hilarious.
That's
and I was
insane.
always wondering because they don't even call Bison. They don't even call him Bison in Japan. They call him Dictator, which is like
Oh.
they don't even actually use the name. Like if you ever see him talking about it, they just call him Dictator. I was always wondering like why not just use the name? I'm like, oh, it's not the same name, I guess. But are you
what's up? Go ahead.
are you really into like fighting games and stuff like that? Do you still play like the new Street Fighters?
No, because I don't like the way these controllers are. They're not built for fighting games. The best fighting game controller that I had was the arcade stick for Dreamcast because it was great for Marvel vs. Capcom. And also too, like a lot of these fighting games no longer have a story element. It's just
That's
all
true.
about like, you know, like I'll tell you this: when I play video games, I don't care for multiplayer. I don't even have an Xbox Live account anymore. I just go for the single player. And let me tell you something: when I spent $70 on friggin' Battlefield 2042 and found out that all I got was a friggin' multiplayer game, I felt so defeated that morning because I couldn't get my money back.
Oh no, yo, that's the worst with these game companies. They never want to give you a refund.
No, and they oversell. They were just like, we have 1,000 hours of gameplay. I'm like, yo, there were like 3 guns. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I woke up like at 5 in the morning. I said, let me just bust out a quick level in Battlefield. Let me feel this thing out. I hear, what's his name? Michael, who passed away. Why am I drawing a blank? I met him, who played Omar on The Wire. Why am I drawing a blank?
Oh, geez. No, Omar. Yeah. Oh my God.
Why am I drawing a blank? Michael Kenneth Williams. It's funny, I met him and he gave me some great career advice. And I'm listening to his voice because he plays, he was in a Battlefield 4, it was, I believe. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm like, all right, cool. Michael K. Williams is leading this game. And I'm like, all right. So it looks like I'm just a skirmish. Maybe it's just a practice, a training mode. It's like, nope, this is the game. Freaking multiplayer. And I'm just like, oh my God. I felt so angry, but I couldn't hit anything because it was just like, that's not going to do anything. I Google it. Oh yeah, Battlefield 2042 online only. I'm like, EA, go to hell.
Oh fuck EA. We hate EA here.
Yeah.
But I still have Madden 21. We're not gonna talk about it.
I have to say, like, you hopped off the fighting game train at a good time because Street Fighter 5 was a disaster. Don't waste your money. And but kind of steering back to the topic. Actually had a question, which was, what would your dream director to act for be? Who would that be?
Oh shoot, damn. Well, who would my dream direct? I mean, there's there's Spielberg, there's Spike Lee, there's Ava DuVernay. You know what? I would say George C. Wolfe. I would say the Russo brothers because I'm curious to see what it's like to be directed by 2 people on one set. These 2 brothers, and they're not just like, oh, we're friends from college and we decided to direct together. Like, I want to be directed by 2 brothers. I want to see their nuances. I want to see them disagree on something and be brothers about the disagreement. You know what I mean? But like, I think them. Shoot, damn, that was such a trick question because there's so many directors to be directed by.
Shout out Joe and Anthony Russo. I'm watching. I'm like watching and rewatching Community right now, and they direct a ton of those episodes. Shout out Joe and Anthony. Oh yeah. It's so crazy to think about that the Russo brothers and Dan Harmon collabed to make fucking Community, and then Dan Harmon went to make like the biggest cult show ever in fucking Rick and Morty, and the Russo brothers went on to direct the biggest movies ever in fucking Infinity War and Endgame and Civil War and Winter Soldier. You know, it's insane to me that they exploded.
Yep. It's so interesting to see someone's journey because you're like Michael Bay. Michael Bay started out directing music videos. Then boom, he gets his film. Was it? I think Bad Boys was his first film, right?
Michael Bay did Bad Boys?
Yeah, Michael Bay.
Wait,
did the
no,
first
I
Bad
love
Boys.
Bad Boys. No.
Yeah, he did the first Bad Boys.
That's
He
funny.
was the one who convinced Will Smith to run down the street with his shirt open. And Will Smith was like, "That's just stupid." And he's like, Michael Bay's like, "No, dude, I'm about to make you a fucking movie star, bro." And then and he was right. He was right. Michael Bay was right. He made him
Michael Bay
a
was
friggin'
right.
movie
My
star.
God.
Yeah, Michael
No.
Bay did what you call it, Bad Boys, and then what Armageddon was it as well too.
Oh
I
man,
think
not Michael Bay being a prophet.
And then he did another disaster movie, and then he did Transformers. I don't remember what it was. Oh well. So right now, you know, where are you at in terms of, where you're feeling about your career? We know for the pod, real quick, Leon recently got into Juilliard, so, shouts out to that. Shouts out to that.
Thank you.
You were on Search Party, acting opposite Aaliyah Shawkat, which somebody who loves Arrested Development, I bug the fuck out. You've got Alchemy of Solitude coming up, which you said I think is starting in the spring.
Yeah,
Yeah. So how are you feeling about everything?
I'm feeling great. You know, the funny thing is, it's like as you get older, your perspectives change, and you learn to like just chill the hell out. Like, Sarah Paulson said something along the lines of like, it's sometimes it's better to gain success when you're a bit older because you learn how to like handle it and things like that. And in my own way, I'm successful. I have to always remind myself, like, Leon, think about where you were 10 years ago compared to
Mm,
now. You know what I mean? And like, of course, I want to drop this day job and only report to set or only show up for a rehearsal for an off Broadway or a Broadway play, and that's all I have to worry about. But I'm happy that I got into Juilliard 5 years ago. I auditioned for Juilliard and I got rejected. I didn't even make it past the first round. And that was the first and only time I've ever cried from a rejection. And I remember when they rejected me and like they said, "All right, you guys go away and we'll send you an email to let you know if you made it to the second round." I was sitting on the steps next to Lincoln Center and my brother, like my best friend, who Chris Davis, he is actually shooting a George Foreman film. That's public knowledge. It's on Deadline. He's doing
nice,
that.
nice.
He's leading a studio film. He was also my best man at my wedding. And I remember I got rejected for Juilliard, and Chris was leading a play at Lincoln Center called The Royale. And it was like, I'm looking at my phone, them telling me they're not going to go with me. And then as I look up, I see my friend on a poster. Now, mind you, there's no ill will towards him or anything like that. But like, you're looking at rejection and you're looking up at success. And you're like, or what is believed to be rejection or what is believed to be success. And I'm sitting there like, I'll never get there now because you feel like the world is just collapsed upon you. But
Mm,
5 years, but the thing is, I didn't get into Juilliard. That would have been 4 years of me being, in an institution. Nothing wrong with that, especially if it's Juilliard. But like, I wouldn't have met the people I've met. I wouldn't have met my teacher, Patrick Quagliano. I would have never got to study with Austin Pendleton. I've never got to book some roles in plays and short films that allowed me to create relationships with other people because that's what's really important in this game, relationships. But here we are 5 years later. I'm studying in their extension program, which is more suited for an actor like me. I'm 38 years old. If I auditioned for Juilliard and got in for a BFA or MFA, my classmate would have been like 17 or something like that, or
right.
25. And here I am making like Saved by the Bell Family Matters reference. And this kid's like, "Is that a show my grandfather used to watch?" And I'm just like, ugh. But you know what I mean?
Is that
But
on TikTok?
and like these are kids who think Michael Jordan. Oh, you mean the guy from Space Jam? Like
Oh my
that's
God.
Oh
it.
no.
Oh my God.
But where I am now, it's like, yes, there's still a road ahead of things I want, but I'm just like taking it a day at a time. Like for example, I auditioned for something last month that I auditioned for I got a call back for it last month, but I initially auditioned for like in November. I didn't hear from them. I got the call back for January, didn't hear from them. I was like, all right, cool. I guess they went with another actor. See, instead of me saying, oh, I must have sucked, I say, oh, they probably went with a different actor. Maybe he was more suited for the role than me, right? But then, as I'm talking to Colin about setting up this podcast today, I get an email from the casting director about it. She's asking me for more information. So, you know what I mean? Like, things happen a day at a time. Now, tomorrow, shit may not happen, but I don't know what's going to happen on Thursday or next Thursday or next Monday or next month. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beauty of it. I mean, I do know what's happening tomorrow. I go for my COVID test because I booked a role on a Hulu show. So I have to get COVID tested tomorrow, fitted for wardrobe on Thursday, and then another COVID test on Friday because they're like, we want to make sure that you're not sick. But
Wow,
that's what it is. And I'm learning to take these victories like and savor them. You know, I always say things like, oh, I don't want to give it too much weight. Like my friend Chris and I were talking. He was like, you know, you keep saying things like, I don't want to give it too much weight. But he said, bro, you got into Juilliard. Give it all the fucking weight because you've been working at this for many years. And here you are, the Hulu show. Give it all the weight because how many other actors got called in for that, but they went with you? You know what I mean? So like, I'm learning to savor my victories and give them the weight they deserve, you know?
No, that's amazing. That's definitely amazing. I find like a lot of time artists they get down on themselves, but at the same time they don't relish in what they accomplish. And I think
Exactly.
that's super awesome that you're at that point.
I try not to like. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
No, I was gonna say like I try not to like, you know, boast about it when I relish it because you meet a lot of cocky actors in this game, and it's like, look, bro, sis, this could be taken away from you at any moment. And you know, people will remember your conceit. Like, who wants to work with a conceited person? And you know, so that's why, like, I don't, you know, sometimes I guess it's a bit of survivor's guilt, but then at the same time, I got to tell myself, is Denzel Washington down because he's working and I'm not working all the time like him? You know, don't I have the right to like be a little happy and also knowing that if I do get to that level of Denzel where I have leverage, I'm going to open up the door for my friends so they can work too, you know? So I try to like, I'm starting to learn to be like, bro, you earned this. And your friend who's working and who may not be working as much as you, he or she's going to get there too.
Honestly, that reminds me of a time I was hanging out with Cameron and I's friend Julian, and we were listening to the song "Devastated" by Joey Badass. Wait, it's not Joey Badass. Jesus.
It is Joey Badass.
No, it is Joey Badass. What was I saying? And he was like, "Damn, you know, even Joey Badass was down bad at one point." So like that just, and when he said that, I was like, damn, Joey Badass was down bad at one point. Like I should feel better about where I'm at.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Like, and think about like me and Julian, we went to school with Joey Badass. Like, he was like blowing up when we were like in freshman year, you know, type of thing where security guards letting him come in after, well after the school is allowing him to, and just vibing. But at the same time, like he still had his moments where he was down bad, and everyone has their moments where they're down bad. Like people be down on their dick, it happens, you know, like it's life. But one thing I've realized, you know, especially as I'm still relatively young, but every year that passes, for sure like I'm like, damn, I wish I had known this when I was like last year. Damn, I wish I had thought of that like 2 years ago. Is there anything that if you could go back and tell yourself, a much younger version of yourself, any advice, what would you tell them?
Don't want it so damn bad, and don't listen to what people have to say. Take more risks. Don't sweat the small stuff. Take it in stride. There's a lesson. I know I sound like I'm listing things. It sounds like a list, but it's really one thought. Like, don't, you know, take it in stride and understand that it's a lot bigger than you. You know, keep in contact, still, you know, stay beating those doors because sometimes you'll look, I hate to say it this way, but you'll meet some actors who are not as skilled, but they're getting out there. And not to compare myself, because as my teacher said, compare and despair, but look at what they're doing. They're putting themselves out there. Put yourself out there even more. But most importantly, like relish, take your education seriously. Because I remember when I started when I was at Esper, studying at the Esper studio, I still was like booking like little jobs here and there. And what I should have been doing was focusing on my work and not my schoolwork, my training, my craft. I can't speak today, sorry. Instead of trying to book work, look at the importance of your training and always take risks. Like those are the things I would tell myself.
Word.
Oh, that's amazing.
Very wise words.
Yeah, man, it's so easy to take things personal in this game because it is you. Like I said, in IT, if I don't solve this, someone's going to solve it because there is a solution out there. As an actor, like it's you that you're bringing to the table. And if I can, I don't want to hold you guys up. A teacher of mine told this class this story. His name is Charles Palmentary. I studied with him in an acting class. He told us this story about how he had auditioned for this television pilot and he didn't get it. All right, cool, whatever. You move on, right? He got all the way to networks. So the way how it works when you audition is you audition for a casting director, then maybe a producer, then maybe a producer again. Like if you're a series regular, it's a gauntlet of auditions. Sometimes you audition like 15, 20 friggin' times, like for real. And you're just moving up levels. So there's producers, which is you're auditioning for the producers of the show. Then you may audition for the director of the pilot. And then you have something called networks, where like you go to ABC or NBC or whatever rented studio they have, and you're auditioning for like the suits, like the major people who can like make or break your careers are in there, right? So you got all the way to network. He didn't book it. All right, cool. You move on, right? So then he runs into one of the producers, and the producer's like, "Oh my God, like, hey, you were really good." And he was like, "Oh, well, you know what? Maybe the better actor got the role." No. You were the better actor. You know what? No problem. Maybe I just wasn't right for the part. No, you were right for the part. And then he goes, "Well, why the hell didn't you cast me then?" And he said, because one of the executive producers said that you remind him of the guy his wife left him for.
Oh my God.
So
wow.
Wow.
Like these are things like you have to remember. I was reading this book because I'm a recovering perfectionist, and he says in the book, whenever a human being is the deciding factor of your next round, your fate, it's a game of chance. You know what I mean? So it's just like I could walk into an audition and before I even say, "Hi, my name is," before I get and hi out, like they're already like, maybe not this guy. And not because they hate me, it's because maybe I don't look the part. Or maybe I walked in and, oh, that motherfucker reminds me of my cousin. My cousin owes me $100. I don't like him. You know what I mean? Like, so these are little things that you go up against that you don't even know, but you still give it your all. Because one of my Shakespeare coach, she says, what you want to do is win the room, because you win the room, they'll continuously call you in for other projects. If you're auditioning for a theater season, audition as if you're auditioning for the next season, because chances are they already picked all the actors they want for this season. And you know what? Maybe when the next season comes about, you don't even have to audition. They'll offer you a role, or maybe they'll call you straight to their office and you don't have to submit. You know what I mean? Like, so there, I think I just went on a tangent there. Sorry. But it's like, overall, there's a lot of things you can't control. And as one of my, I got a lot of lessons from people in this game because I always pay attention. My audition technique coach said, she said, casting is none of your business. It's just what it is. And for whatever reason you got the role or you didn't get the role, that's none of your business. You just go in, do your thing, leave a mark, and move on.
That's what's up.
I mean, yeah, and I feel like there's a certain existential nature that you just have to discard from it because there's so much out of your control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just I have issues with that sometimes, just having anxiety over like things I can't really control. So I applaud you, man. That's
no, I
very
still have it
impressive.
too. I still go in there like, oh my God, if I get this will blow up. And then when I get into that mindset, I start like doubting myself because I'm giving it so much versus just like, Leon, just relax. Every audition I've relaxed on, I've booked. Every audition, I'm like, oh my God, this is Law and Order. If I get this, Dick Wolf will love me and Spielberg will probably see me and I'll be in Men in Black 7. You know what I mean? And then like I end up like, just making safe choices versus taking risks. So, but anxiety will always be there because it shows that you love it. And what you learn to do is use the anxiety to your advantage. You know what I mean? Like I tell myself, you know what? When I'm nervous, I never try to fight it. I just say, you know what, Leon? You're excited. You're not nervous. You think it's nerve, but you're excited. And you're excited to be here. And when I connect with that, I go in, I have fun, and I leave an impression.
No, that's fantastic advice. Because I think there's always a point in which when you start a creative type of endeavor where when you're first into it, it's all just fun because there's nothing really behind it. You're just really like experiencing the love of the craft. And all of a sudden when it becomes something a bit more, that's when the kind of anxiety starts to kick in and stuff like that because it becomes so important to you that it becomes stressful, even though you love it. And sometimes that stress can be overwhelming, but also sometimes that stress can, like make you create great things. It's like, it's kind of like, like pressure makes a lot of diamonds, but people don't necessarily know about all the rocks that got crushed.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. So definitely like managing that is like, I think that's amazing. So congrats on that, man.
No, thank you.
So one thing we like to do, sort of like the last question we always like to ask is, well, maybe not a question, but we ask that you give what's called a statement of intent. And what is that? Basically, we want you to put forward a statement of something you want to put out there. You can be as specific as, on this date, I want to do this, and this is going to be the result of that. Or you can just say, I want to get this money. It's up to you. You can take a second if you want. You can always clip it out. Yeah.
By the end of the year 2022, I wish to be a more sharp and grounded actor, both in my craft and just within my soul. Just grounded and sharp. Where it takes me, I don't know. But I know that the year 2022, I can look back and say 10 years ago, compared to 10 years ago, I'm a sharper and more grounded artist. That's what I want.
There you go. That's awesome, man. Cameron, you got anything else?
No, that's about it for me.
All right, well, Leon, we appreciate you for sticking around and talking to us. I definitely had a great time. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you on the big screen in the future. And we gotta hang out soon. I'll come out to Queens, man. It'll be great.
No, yeah, come out. Kelly and I are all about Korean barbecue. There's a lot of Korean barbecue spots.
Okay, all right. No, it's saying all right, cool. I'm there. Cool.
I'm in Bayside, Queens. There's this place. I have no affiliation to them. They call O2. It's $37, and all you can eat for 100 minutes. And it's dope because and you know what? you might think, oh my God, this must be terrible food. No, high quality meats that they come out. The place is sanitary as hell. The service is great, and the food is amazing.
Oh no, I gotta pull up.
Yeah, Bayside, Queens, man. Diverse neighborhood, really good.
Yeah, we got some. I know it's not too far, or it's not super close, but we have some friends in Sunnyside. So,
Cool.
yeah, so kind of like, you know, just a little bit further on the 7. But
All right,
again,
no, definitely come out here.
yeah, man, I'm here for it. Again, thank you so much for pulling up, joining us on Plan C. We appreciate you.
Awesome. Cameron, nice meeting you. Colin,
Yeah,
thank you
nice
for
meeting you,
having
man.
me. I hope I didn't talk too much, but then
Nah,
again, it's a
man, you're good.
podcast.
Don't
That's
worry
the
about
point.
it. Don't worry
See,
about
I'm
it.
working.
Don't worry about it.
I'm working on that. I'm working on that.
It is all good. Don't worry about it.
You were great, man. This was
Seriously.
This was a blast.
This is great.
All right, guys,
Leon.
be well, be safe. This is an amazing thing you got going. Keep it up. Please, please, please. If there's somebody you see, like maybe Leon knows that person, I'll be more than happy to send them your way and hopefully set up something where you guys can interview them too.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate
Enjoy
you guys.
the rest of your evening.
Have a good one, man.
You too. All the best, all the love. Stay safe, be well.
Thanks, man.
All right, later.
Peace.
Thank y'all so much for listening. It was a great episode. Thank you for Leon for coming on. Thanks to Cameron for always showing up. Appreciate him. Make sure, if you're not already, follow us on our socials at plan_C_podcast. That is Instagram. That is Twitter. Make sure you check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. We're all over the place. Make sure you check us out there. And again, thank you to everyone for making it to the end of the episode. Appreciate you. Hope you're staying safe.